If AB's willing to bash Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, what do you think he's going to say about Kenny Pickett? I don't want AB within 100 miles of my quarterback. I don't want him to talk to him, do none of that. We gotta talk about two things. One of those being the Antonio Brown situation, and the other one being Deshaun Watson. If you watched the video I posted earlier today, we talked about the Antonio thing for about a minute. Didn't really speak on it too much, just kind of broke the news about what was going on. But now I've had some time to sit back and actually really think about it, and I'm gonna reassess it in this video. For those of you that have no clue whatsoever what's going on, early this morning, Antonio Brown tweeted out, "I just want to retire a Steeler." That confused everybody, but only 17 minutes later, he followed it up and made it more clear by saying he doesn't want to play, he just wants to retire, so we're clear. I think it goes without being said, there's obviously going to be some mixed emotions about this. I would like to say you either hate Antonio Brown or you love him, but to be quite honest, I don't know too many people that love him or talk too highly of him. And it's not because people just want to hate on this guy. Everybody thought he was great early on. He's just done so many chaotic and crazy things the past couple of years. It's not even hating on him, it's just facts. I think the best word to describe what he's done is he has sabotaged his own career. I said it earlier in the video we posted a couple hours ago. I'm going to say it again. I'm not too sure what all this CTE is, but there is something just not right in his brain. All this stuff he's done and all the stuff he continues to do, it's mind-boggling. Maybe it's absurd for me to say this, but just going off of the numbers, he was on pace to be one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. There was a 5-year stretch from around 2013 up until 2018 with the Steelers. He was dominating the NFL. I'm going to show you the numbers right here. Starting in 2013, he had 1,500 receiving yards, 1,700, 1,800, 1,200, 1,500, and 1,300. It wasn't just the consistency that was impressive to me, it was the level of it. He didn't just have 5 straight years of barely getting 1,000 receiving yards. He was averaging close to 1,400 or 1,500 throughout that stretch. And then, as we all know, after 2018, it's been a downhill spiral for the worse, and it continues to get worse and worse and worse. He had a major fallout with the Steelers and Big Ben, had an even worse one with the Raiders, where he was begging them to release him on Instagram, then the Patriots, and most recently the Bucs. My man took off his jersey, he took off his pads, his uniform, and just left in the middle of the game. Look, I think we've all been there. I'm sure there's a bunch of former athletes watching or listening to this video. We've all been mad at our coaching staff and wanted to quit, but we never really did it. We would wait till after the game. It's not just the fact that he quit in the middle of the game, it's the fact that he took off his clothes. Like, what in the crap is going on in this man's head? And then the greatest part about all of this is he tries to play this victim role, and maybe some of you are falling for it, but I'm not. One thing all these psycho women and psychopaths have, and I'm not calling him a psychopath, but I'm just using it as an example, they all love playing that victim role when in reality it's their fault. You may know somebody like this, they mess up their life and it's always pity me and why me, when no dude, you're the reason your life is terrible. I know it seems like I'm ranting and raving and criticizing them, but I'm really not. I'm just telling you everything that's went on. I don't have to criticize Antonio Brown because his actions, it does it for him. How do I say this in the nicest way possible? He's made himself look like an idiot and nobody respects him. I'll give you a great example. I'm not a LeBron fan. I don't really like him too much. I'm a Kobe guy. But I respect LeBron. I don't respect Antonio Brown, and I won't respect anybody that single-handedly ruins their career and throws away millions of dollars. I don't think some of you quite understand that Antonio Brown, AB, whatever you want to call him, has cost himself probably upwards to $150 to $200 million. If he wouldn't have acted the way he has and he stayed on the Steelers and signed a max deal, he'd probably be close to a billionaire when it was all said and done. And I'm not solely talking about football money, but he'd also probably be in more commercials and he'd be doing advertisement with companies. That's what a lot of guys don't grasp. You gotta have a good image because you're gonna make a boatload of your money off of commercials like Baker Mayfield does. Or like Baker Mayfield used to. I'm not too sure if he's gonna be in too many more commercials. Anyways, getting back on topic with the current situation involving AB, the thing I hate about him the most is that he's an attention whore. Have some of you not noticed all these acts he does on and off the field? It's spread out so he can try to stay relevant. He only has these crazy outbursts whenever the media is not giving him enough attention, so he tries to put himself back into the media. I don't know if he has a PR team, but somebody should be in his ear telling him that all attention isn't good attention. That's just one thing I don't like about him. It's clear as day, you can see it. He loves attention. He wants people to bow down to him, and he thinks he's over the rules and nobody can touch him. If you don't believe me, just think about it. He's only on his best behavior for a short amount of time. Then whenever he gets a new contract or he feels like he's in a good position and he has a little power, that's when he acts crazy. One of my favorite quotes of all time, some of you may know this if you've been watching the channel, is that with great power comes great responsibility. I think it's one of the truest quotes ever, and you can apply it to this situation. It doesn't matter if you're a football player, you're a manager, you're a boss, etc. If you have some power whatsoever, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. There are some people who, yes, they need to have that power because they can handle it. On other circumstances and situations like Antonio Brown, he doesn't need power because he abuses it. Let me put it into a better perspective. He's the type of guy where if you give him an inch, he's going to try to take a mile. He's always going to push his luck and see how far he can go without breaking the limits or even breaking the limits. I think a great example is a thief. You know, the first time you have a robbery or do whatever, you may only take a TV, but once you do that a couple of times, you're going to try to start taking more stuff. That's what AB does. He continues to test the NFL, test people in his life, and see how far he can go. And then when those said people that he backstab and hurt, they kick him out of the league or they don't want nothing to do with him, he's like, yo, what the crap? Why are you acting this way? I can't emphasize this enough. He tries to play victim when he's not the victim. The people he did it to's the victim. I don't know how his brain operates, but there's gotta be something wrong up there. It'd be the equivalent to you robbing a bank and they catch you and put you in jail and you ask the police officer, hey, why'd you put me in jail? You don't even know what to say to that because it's so mind-boggling, it's obvious. He did Juju Smith-Schuster wrong, he screwed over the Steelers, and now he's wanting to come back. The way I live my life, I try to never burn bridges unless I have to, because I'll never know and you'll never know whenever you may need that person once again. It could be 5 days from now, or it could be 50 years from now. You'll never know when you'll need some help. I don't care what's going on, you just always need to take the high road and never burn bridges. I can't tell you how many times it's actually paid off for me in my everyday life. But in this situation with Antonio Brown, he burned bridges with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he trashed Juju Smith-Schuster, that entire organization, and now guess what? 5-6 years later, he's wanting to come back. It hasn't been 5 to 6 years, it's been 4 to 5 years, my bad. Like they say, it's funny how the tables have turned. Mr. Antonio Brown is now into a position where he's starting to realize that none of these NFL teams, they want him in the locker room and they're not even going to give him a shot. I gotta tell you right now, and if you believe different, it is what it is. But if I'm an NFL GM, whoever, there's no way, not a single chance I'd give him a one-day contract. I don't want him near my team. You know why I don't want him near my team? Because he's the definition of cancer and he's toxic. And my last straw with AB was this right here. He didn't have a place to stay in Tampa Bay, so what did Tom Brady do? He let him stay in his house. Tom Brady let Antonio Brown, the psychopath, stay in his house with his wife and kids. Tom Brady gave him a chance. Tom Brady's the only reason the Tampa Bay Bucks even signed him. And what does Antonio Brown do? He goes on podcasts and just crushes him and bashes him to everyone. I want you to think about that. Tom Brady didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to help out AB, but he did. And how does he repay him? He bashes him to the entire world, and it makes him look even more stupid because Brady's the greatest of all time, and from everything I've seen, he seems like a good dude. You're the one who looks crazy when you're bashing Tom Brady, and nobody else in Brady's career has even said a bad thing about him. To put it in a better perspective, that's like your best friend getting kicked out of his house, has no money, and he needs to stay with you for 2 weeks, so you let him. He stays at your place, eats your food, showers, does all this, then come to find out later down the road, he's bashing you on Twitter and saying you're a terrible person. I think we're on the same boat here, or at least I hope we are. It doesn't make sense. Let's take a look at some of the replies. This person said, "I'd like to retire a trillionaire, my boy, but it's probably not happening either." Let me know your thoughts on it. I would be more than shocked if the Steelers even gave him that opportunity. I don't care what he's done in the past. I don't think he deserves it. Here's my favorite comment though. People make mistakes. As long as we grow from those mistakes and learn, we shouldn't hold that against others. We all know people that have done things and they aren't proud proud of. Just because he's a football player and not a celebrity, or my bad, and a celebrity, doesn't mean he's not human. Somebody under that tweet said, yes, but when you repeat those mistakes over and over and over and over and over and over, and that's exactly my argument to everything with Antonio Brown. I'm all for second chances. I'm all for forgiving. I don't believe it's what happens to you in this life. It's how you respond to what happens to you. We're all going to make mistakes. I've made 10,000 mistakes in my life, and I'm probably going to make 20,000 more in the future. I'm not in any position, and neither are you, to criticize somebody when they make a mistake here and there. However, when you make a bad decision and you compound that with bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, and it continues to go on and on and on, and you never learn from it, I can't feel sorry for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where I sit with this situation. I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. Why should I feel sorry for a guy who threw away over $100 million if he would have just acted right on and off the field? I'll never feel sorry for an athlete who has done the things that Antonio Brown has done. And now he's trying to come back to the Steelers and sabotage what they got going on. Come on now, you know dang well he's not just going to want to sign a one-day contract and retire. He's going to try to at least play for him. He's going to say something like, oh, well, I know we only signed it for one day so I could retire, but could we possibly let me play on an incentive bonus and see where it goes? It all goes back to what I said. He's the type of guy where if you give him an inch, he's going to try to take a mile. And that is the last thing the Steelers need right now with their new rookie quarterback, Kenny Pickett. They do not need that drama at the wide receiver position. If AB's willing to bash Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, what do you think he's going to say about Kenny Pickett? I don't want AB within 100 miles of my quarterback. I don't want him to talk to him, do none of that. And it's not just a quarterback. I don't want him within 2,000 miles of my locker room. You probably think I'm joking, but I'm being dead serious. He's a walking ball of cancer. He's toxic. The funniest part about all of this is Antonio Brown has stated that he doesn't need the NFL, they need him. Last time I checked, the NFL was doing just fine without you. You're easily replaceable. The bottom line is, the NFL doesn't need anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter. People are still going to watch the league. He's trying to act like he was a superhero bringing in all these ratings. And why it's so funny and ironic is because he states he doesn't need the NFL, but he's always trying to get a new contract in the league somewhere. AB, I thought you didn't need the NFL and they needed you, right? He contradicts himself. He's a mess. But anyways, let's get into our last and final topic of this video, and that's Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to spend too much time talking on it, but I did find it interesting. So apparently, according to the sources, Deshaun Watson, the new Browns quarterback, is taking the entire offense to the Bahamas. Now, it is stated that this trip is for team building and they are going to practice while they're there. While that was released today, there's also been news released that Deshaun Watson's going to meet with the NFL sometime this week. Most people are predicting that the suspension, if there is going to be one, it will come out later when they meet. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I'm not too sure what's going to go on with that. I'm sure they'll suspend him for at least 6 to 8 weeks. The reason I brought all this up because, as you saw, it says Deshaun Watson is taking the entire offense to the Bahamas. Well, technically, the entire offense would include, guess who? Baker Mayfield, because he's still on the Browns. I think it's safe to say that Baker Mayfield will not be making the trip, but my biggest question is, and I'd love to figure this out, I wonder if Deshaun even invited him. I don't want to get into all the off-the-field problems with Deshaun. I want to keep it strictly about football. I did think that was pretty cool of him. I don't ever remember Baker Mayfield doing something like that. Maybe he did. I just didn't hear about it. Kudos to Deshaun Watson. Wish him the best of luck, and I guess we'll see how it plays out. That's pretty much everything. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. Peace.